Over the years, I've come up with a little formula that I remind myself of, and it goes like this: 80% of what I do, anybody with their normal faculties can do. 15% of what I do, anybody with the proper training can do. 5% of what I do, only I can do. And that 5% deserves and needs my very best. I must master that. But the other 95% matters too. And so I want to remind us of that. I'm not going to list my 5% because yours may be a little different. Every situation, stage of life, but you do need to identify that 5% and really master that. Give that your best. But those other parts, like I'm thinking in terms of a pastor, for example, you want to have plenty of room for everybody to be involved. You are making disciples. And the way you make disciples is you don't sit them in a pew and preach to them. Of course, you have to preach to them. You have to give them information. But you become a disciple by following, by doing. If you remember Jesus, he modeled what needed to be done, but then he cut the strings and sent them out even while he was still here on earth. And so that 80%, you want to constantly be creating opportunities for people to do something, to be a part. I was reading this morning about the children of Israel marching around Jericho. And it just, one of the principles of leadership: keep people busy, keep them marching, keep them moving, and keep them moving together around a central vision. And so as you keep people busy, they're learning, they're growing. And so that's that 80%. Somebody shows up at your church, they need to see there's a place for me to get involved. And if they don't see that take for instance, if we get so focused on good quality music, and if we feel like that's in that top 5%, which I don't, I want good music. But if we get so focused and we have the same people on the platform every Sunday, then other musicians, wannabe musicians, people that are willing to grow into that, people already good musicians, but if they see the same people up there, they'll realize there's no place for me in this church. And so you want to have an opportunity for 80% of your people to get involved rather easily, to begin to make a contribution. And so you do that, and then that other 5% that only you can do, but that leaves that 15% that leads to proper training. That's your senior management. That's the people that are department heads. That's the people that are committee heads. That are the people that's on your key boards, that they are doing the heavy lifting. That's your top committed donors, whether it's dollars, which are hugely important. God's got to finance. He always had a way to finance his vision. But whether it's your top donors in time and giving of themselves, but that senior management. And that's the one area. And what prompted me on this is a book by Max De Pree. That's a pretty neat name, isn't it? It's been out for a long time. Leadership Jazz. I read it years ago. He was the CEO of Herman Miller Corporation, which makes fine furniture. But he says, "I'm convinced that leaders make a fundamental error when they rationalize in their minds the selection of mediocre performers for senior positions." And looking back over my own life, I've gotten into most trouble when in those senior strategic positions, I settled for less than the best, and I let people drift along, and I didn't help them to grow, and I didn't help them to improve, and I didn't invest in that senior leadership. My prayer for you is that you'll get to the point that one day your ministry, your life, your influence will grow to the point that really that 15% is the people that you pastor directly, that you stay real involved. But you do that by starting right now, and you train them, and you invest in them, and you help them grow. But what you don't do is settle for average. It's settle for mediocre. And I'll kind of show my hand a little bit, but one of the 5% things that only I can do at this stage of my life is the selection and appointment of pastors. I work with churches in helping them to find pastors, and we've all been around this long enough to know that if You get the wrong pastor in there, he or she will grow that church down to zero pretty quickly. But you get a good leader, you get somebody that is really top chef. It may be in potential, it may be in passion and drive, or it may be in experience. But you can see with a little bit of training or with the experience they've already got, if I put them in this situation, they're going to take it to the next level. And I've realized when I did the churches that under my watch, the most disservice is when I didn't do due diligence and give them the very best pastor that I could find. If it takes a little while longer, I've learned I have to be patient, but I want to do due diligence. I want to be proper vetting, because if I get the right person right now in Michigan, anywhere in Michigan, if I get the right person, that church is going to improve. And when that church improves, that community is going to improve. And when that community improves, Michigan's going to improve. And as Michigan improves, it can impact the world. And so there's a 5% that only you can do. And there's 80% that you want to find a place for anybody to do something. But there's that key 15%. Know who your senior leaders are and pour yourself into them. Hold them to a higher standard. Give them your time. Give them your love. Give them your feedback. Give them your time and your attention. And if you haven't guessed by now, one of the 5% that only you can do is investing in that 15%, the management of the ministry or the organization that's under your care. So there you go. Go get them. Let's have a good day.